walked through the museum today, what were your thoughts when you saw the history and then you see the gallery in here? What came to mind for you?
Well, just all the memories I had of childhood, started coming back. You spend a lot of days in this game and you kind of forget most of them, but then when you start seeing things, it brings back all the memories. So a lot of memories. There's a lot I don't know about baseball that I learned today, so that was pretty encouraging. And this is just one of my favorite museums ever.
You've said your family's been so important to you and how you developed in baseball. Mm-hmm. And you talked about your brother today, where you're in the library. Does that kind of family feeling come back when you're in a place like this?
Yeah, it does, absolutely. Because we shared, our first games were in Riverfront, down in Cincinnati, and our dad took us there every summer. We spent some time in LA, so we got to go to some Dodger games, but only when they played the Reds. So, if the Reds weren't playing, then we weren't going. And to see like the pictures of the big red machine back in the '70s was pretty cool.
So many pitchers, young pitchers, struggle with their command. From virtually the minute you're in pro baseball, you're striking out twice as many guys as you walk. Was that a gift? Was it something you developed? How did you get the command so early and then so consistent?
Well, I think it was a gift. I think you can always improve your command, but I think some guys just have better command than others, and that was something I always worked on, was my command, and I was fortunate enough to have pretty good command at a young age.
Did you have coaches or managers that told you at a young age in the pros that the command was going to be your ticket? In other words, you didn't have to throw 98, but you could locate well enough where you could be dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was very fortunate when I was just learning how to pitch at a young age, like high school, that I learned that movement was more important than velocity, and I learned that location was more important than velocity, and I learned that the ability to change speeds was more important than velocity. So obviously you got to have velocity to get drafted, but I think in order to get hitters out, you have to be able to locate your fastball and change speeds. And if you could do that with movement, it's just more of a bonus.
First year in the majors, you're 6-14. The next year, you're 18-8, and that was it. Was there something that happened between those 2 years that you can put a finger on?
That was the ability to change speeds. I didn't change speeds very well in my first year. I pitched fast enough, I didn't know how to pitch slow enough. I located my fastball well enough, but I was not very good at changing speeds. And I went to winter ball and really worked on my changeup. And the following year, I was able to change speeds a lot better than I was the first year.
You've said that all the teams you pitched for had a great impact on you, but I want to ask you about the Cubs. Early in your career, you get to play in the postseason with them. What was that like, that experience to have that emotional at such a young age?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I learned you can't try to do better than you actually are. That first year, I think I didn't do a very good job of staying within myself. And one of the worst things you can do as a pitcher is forget about location and changing speeds and just trying to overthrow a little bit. And I was very guilty of that. And that was something I tried to learn from in the next postseasons that I would be a part of.
So by '92, you won the Cy Young with the Cubs, and then you go to Atlanta as a free agent. Did you have any inkling going into that cycle that the Braves were going to be a landing spot for you, considering what happened after that for the next 11 years?
Well, you never know, but I knew going into the '93 season that they were very good in '91 and '92, so I knew that, and I knew they had the same players coming back, and the pitching staff was pretty young, and that they were all going to be together for a while. Glavine, Smoltz, Avery, Pete Smith, Kent Marker, all those guys. So they were all young. I know the owner would keep the team together, and luckily we continued to win.
Do you look back on it now as like it was meant to be because of what you guys were able to accomplish?
Absolutely, absolutely. Loved Chicago, never wanted to leave, went to Atlanta, and the grass sometimes is greener on the other side, and it was a pretty special time in our lives. You know, we lived there for 11 years, started our family there, met friends there that we still have today, and have a lot of memories of our lives just starting out in Atlanta.
94 and 95, you put back-to-back years together that were virtually unprecedented, and yet you probably didn't pitch. You lost 15 to 17 starts because of the labor dispute those 2 years. Do you ever think about what your numbers might have been, being in such a groove for those 2 years, if you had those starts back?
Occasionally, you know, you could try to prorate it out, but, you know, it's baseball. You never know. You know, it's pretty easy to not win 8 out of 10 starts, and it's also pretty easy to run off 7 out of 10. So, you know, it kind of works both ways, but very special time in my career during those years, and, you know, dispute or no dispute, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, enjoyed it.
95, you guys win it all. You played on so many great teams in Atlanta. Was that hands down, though, the best? I mean, I know you won it, but was that the best team?
Well, it was the best finish, that's for sure. You know, you can make an argument that, you know, maybe in 96 we were better, maybe 98 we were better. We didn't win those years, but 95 sticks out. You know, I'm glad threw the shutout and Dave hit the homer, you know, because we did get a ring that year.
Teammates, opponents, everybody throughout your career marveled at your ability to put the ball where you wanted at any given time. But you, as a pitcher, did you ever wonder what it would be like if you had Nolan Ryan's fastball and the command? I mean, did you ever wonder if I had both, what would be possible?
Well, it would have been fun, that's for sure. But I never did. You know, I think you're always working with what you got, and you know, you admired people that threw harder or had better breaking balls or had the nasty changeup. You know, you just sat back and enjoyed watching those guys kind of do their thing, but at the same time, you know, you were always trying to just kind of work with what you got, and then, you know, what's the best fit for you, and, you know, 5 days later when it's your turn to pitch.
You won 15 or more games for 17 straight years. You went disabled this one time with a non-arm injury. What was it about your mechanics that allowed you to stay so healthy, or was it just your body? What was it?
A lot of it's just luck, I think. I was very fortunate at an early age when I first started, again, back in high school. I had a guy named Keith Clevin. You know, everybody has their guy back home. He was my guy that kind of showed me how to take care of my shoulder and take care of my legs. Never got into throwing or anything like that, but he understood how the body worked and how to prepare yourself for the upcoming season.
So in 04, you go back to the Cubs. You complete your career with the Padres and the Dodgers. In 23 years, though, what's the single memory that you take with you? Is there a point in time that was most special to you, or is it everything? Is it the whole?
Well,
whole
yeah, it's definitely the total package. But, you know, I think starting out, you know, your first day in the big leagues is always pretty special. And you know, I remember my first game. It was Nolan Ryan against Jamie Moyer, so that was pretty cool. You know, and then had a chance to face my brother twice. World Series is definitely up there. First time playing in Yankee Stadium, pretty special. So I mean, there's just oodles of memories that, you know, you kind of think about one different one every now and then when it comes up, but they're all pretty special.
Were you able to savor it at the time, or was there you're kind of in the game and focusing on what's next?
No, I savored them. I mean, I took, I know, like during the All-Star games and all that, you know, before you throw the first pitch, you kind of step back off the mound and you look around a little bit and try to take advantage of the situation. And I know my last couple years, you know, I'd go to all the ballparks and look around and think about this game or that game, or we were here 10 years ago and this happened, and yeah, you think about those things.
You won 18 Gold Glove awards. That may never be broken. It's hard to imagine anybody getting that many. Did you work on fielding? Was it something that you said, I'm going to be great at this?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I felt like I wasn't the kind of pitcher that could give away outs. You know, I had to get every out I could get, and you got to get 27 of them, and to be able to get 2 or 3 with your glove each night was a pretty big advantage. So I put an importance on fielding, and realized if I could do something with my glove, 3, 4, 5 outs a night, now you're down to pitching 7, 8 innings. So I took it serious, and it mattered.
Has it, now that you're a couple months down the road from the call, has it sunk in yet? What has happened in the fact that you're here in Cooperstown?
Yeah, it's sinking in. You walk in here and, it's quiet, place echoes, and yeah, it's sinking in.
Talk about, I know pitchers don't face pitchers, pitchers face batters, but were there certain guys when they were on the mound that you said, hey, this is kind of fun to be out there against?
Absolutely. You face pitchers sometimes. I mean, sometimes you got to win 2-1 or 3-2. I mean, and you're aware of how the other guy's pitching, and that might change a thing or two you do in the 3rd or 4th inning as opposed to another guy, but you're definitely aware of who you're pitching against. You always felt like no matter who's pitching that day, if you pitched better than the other guy, you were probably going to win. So you always knew who the other pitcher was.
Was there certain guys that you knew, hey, this matchup, I enjoy this matchup? A Randy Johnson or something?
Well, yeah, those guys, you knew you had to win 1-0 or 2-1 when you're facing those guys. So, you might want to see the infield in the 2nd and 3rd inning where, and you realized you might pitch around somebody in the 3rd or 4th inning as opposed to waiting for the 6th or 7th. So, yeah, when you faced, early on it was like David Cohn, Dwight Gooden, Oral Hershiser, and then later on it moved to, Randy Schilling and Pedro. So, yeah, you knew who the other pitcher was, and you had to try to pitch around that sometimes.